Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. It's great to see everyone. Microsoft Advertising Masterclass, How to Reach More Customers with Microsoft Bing and Microsoft Advertising. It's great to see everyone. We still have quite a few that are coming into the room, so we'll give them just a moment to get started. But while they are coming in, please do find the chat questions area of our webinar and let us know that your business and your industry. It's always great to see who we have on our calls and our webinars, and we'll get started in just a second here. Awesome. Got a good number. Great. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Again, welcome to our webinar today. I'm Brandon Griffin, head of B2B marketing for Local IQ. And if this is your first time joining one of our webinars, welcome, and allow me to introduce you to our agency. We are a multi-channel digital marketing agency, which means we specialize in all things from SEO to PPC, paid social, display advertising, website design, and so much more. We are part of the NewsQuest media group and 200 plus trusted news brands all across the UK. So we can even help you with your print and your integrated marketing strategies as well. And we are honored to be among a global field of Microsoft partners. And we were recently recognized as Microsoft's Global Rising Star of the Year. The Microsoft Partner Awards recognize digital marketing partners who demonstrate excellence in innovation and implementation of marketing campaigns by using Microsoft technology to help businesses stand out in their sector. So rest assured that when you work with our experts, you are in very, very capable hands. Again, thank you to everyone who's joining and who's gone to the chat to introduce yourself. And if you haven't done so already, please do that. And just let us know your business and the industry that you're in, because as we go through today's webinar, we'll be able to make a little bit more relevant examples if we know the audience that we have. So always great to see everyone on our calls. Here is our agenda for today. We've got a really great session lined up for you all today. And the objective of today is to help you all understand a little bit more about Microsoft advertising and how it's evolved and the audience that uses Microsoft advertising solutions and products every day. We hope to share information with you that's going to help you understand and determine how to best target your customers on Microsoft ads. We're talking about their targeting capabilities. And also the experts are going to help us understand what the future of search looks like, especially with the conversations and the integration of Copilot. And they're even going to share with us about how Microsoft works well with other platform partners and how they have a lot of different things in their ecosystem. Again, I'm Brandon Griffin, head of B2B marketing for Local IQ, and I'm really excited to welcome Simon Jacobson and Joe Hennessy, who are experts from Microsoft, who are going to be leading us through today's conversation. Simon and Joe, we really appreciate having you all on the call. And in a second, I'll toss it to you, and then you all can take the slides and run with it and go ahead and introduce yourselves. But just one housekeeping thing for our attendees today. Today's webinar is being recorded, so you'll get today's webinar and the slides in your email within 24 hours. And also at the end of our session today, we have a Q&A session with the experts. So as we're going through, we're going to be covering a lot of information, but feel free to go to that questions chat area that you just went to introduce your business and your industry, and you can submit your questions. You don't have to wait to the end. You can submit them as they come to your mind, and then we'll make sure we hold them to that appropriate time. All right, so with that, Simon and Joe, if you all can tell us a little bit about yourselves, I'm going to go ahead and let you all take over the screen share, and we can go ahead and dive in.
Thank you, Brandon. And I'll just wait for the screen share to appear. And go ahead and share my screen, and if I could just get a thumbs up from you, Brandon, that you can see my screen and all is good. Fantastic. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Simon. I'm from Microsoft Advertising. I am the Director of Partner Development. I look after essentially all of our key strategic partners in the UK. By partnership, what do I mean? We have a very small subset of, you could say, elite partners that we work with exceptionally closely with to ensure that they have all of the tools, all of the support qualifications, all of the kind of backing of the wider agencies and partners. We work across the agency world, we work across the software world, and we work across the classified world. And really what we exist to do is to share what I'm about to share, but diffuse that into a really kind of understandable format so that we can service advertisers at scale of all shapes and sizes. I'm going to take you through a little bit of a journey from Microsoft today. So where we've come from, what we've built, what we've acquired, what our vision for the web is and for advertisers, and then move on to some of those kind of meaty areas that Brandon just mentioned. I'm joined today by our partner account manager for the UK, Joe. Joe, do you want to go ahead and say hello? You can see Joe. Joe's you can interact with him in the chat, and we'll take Q&As after Joe's going to take that piece. So, Joe, go ahead. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey folks, yeah, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on what time you're watching the recording. Maybe back, Joe Hennessy, as the guys have said, delighted to be presenting to you today, particularly in light of the recent award the team at Local IQ have gotten. I'm going to monitor the chat and the questions. I have the easy job. Simon will be doing most of the talking.
So Joe and I are a team, and we're here to support all of our partners. Local IQ, we work very closely with Brandon, Nikki, and the rest of the team. Behind Local IQ, there is myself and Joe. Joe, as you will recognise, Joe's based in Dublin. I'm based in London. We have a ton of support behind us that help us deliver the best quality service for Local IQ that they can offer that to you in their own unique way. We have a partner lead for our audience ad product, a more kind of specialized area based in Barcelona, Lucas. And then we have a ton of resources behind us. We've got our advertiser enablement services. You think of that like our back office. You know, we're working with tens of thousands of advertisers. We want to make sure everyone gets what they need. So that's a very important resource with us. For technical services and technical account management, any kind of technical issues, particularly with our software partners or partners like Local IQ build IP around our products, we want to make sure that they get everything that they need. And then, of course, insights. Insights are important to every advertiser, and you know we make sure we do our best to make sure that all of the insights on our network are diffused and shared in a usable format, so that our agencies can share them and make sure our advertisers get hold of them. So let me take you on a bit of a journey. Microsoft Advertising. The high level piece here is that if you haven't worked with Microsoft Advertising directly or indirectly over the last, I would say, 2 years, the product and proposition and what we do is going to look entirely different to you. So I could call this not just the old Bing ads, but I'm going to talk about this through the journey of where we're trying to get to, and what we're doing to get there. We will go back to 2018. We announced a audience network where we expanded our search offering into native. We then changed our branding. We acquired Promote IQ, which is a retail media offering. Think of that like helping our large retailers stand up on their own through audience selling in the same way that Amazon do that today. We acquired Xandr you'll see kind of what our intention with Xandr as a large global display advertising proposition primarily. We became the exclusive provider for Netflix for their ad-supported tiers globally. And then everything changed. We announced a partnership with OpenAI. For those of you who are familiar with ChatGPT, that's the holding owner of ChatGPT, back in November 23. And in February 23, we launched what we called then our new Bing, or the AI-powered Bing. And as Brandon mentioned before, this is critical to the future of search. We're going to share some behaviors and what we're seeing there. But I would say the number one takeaway is that what search was yesterday is not the same as search is going to be tomorrow. The way that people search, the way that they discover things, the way that they create things, generative AI is here to stay. I'm sure everyone listening today has had some experience of generative AI. And hopefully I can kind of open the box a little bit to what we're doing with that and what we're seeing. In June 23, this is about democratizing our proposition. Microsoft is not an organization that just stands on its own for its own agenda. Our job is to democratize this technology for everyone. Our mission is to empower every individual and organization on the planet to achieve more. So, you know, as our CEO says very often, you know, our job is not to make Microsoft cool. Our job at Microsoft is to make everyone else cool. And I think these three things I'm about to talk about are super cool. So we democratized our ads for API, our chat ads for API solution, and partnered with Snap and with Axel Springer in Germany and with Baidu, you can see there on the screen. And we really are kind of bringing this solution to life through others, as well as our own Copilot solution. So we've renamed that new Bing Copilot. It's not a trademark, but this is what's underpinning all of our productivity tools on the Microsoft side today, as well as our consumer tool, the tool that you might be familiar with, which is the Bing Copilot, the Microsoft Bing Copilot. So hopefully that gives you a flavor. It is a fast and furious time to be working on this side of the coin, but there's a ton there, you know, in terms of acquisitions, partnerships, and what we're fundamentally trying to get to. But why do we do this? Right, we do this for three reasons mainly. You know, we have a duty to consumers, we have a duty to advertisers, and we have a duty to our fellow publishers. And what we want to do is build a web that works for all. And there's a ton of things that the complexity of cookie deprecation and first-party data and all of that I'm not going to go into today. But our duty, as well as the way that the market's shifting, is where we see the biggest opportunities to work closely with partners and advertisers. Before I go in, there's one thing on my notes that I forgot to mention, that you're talking today to Microsoft, but we work very closely with Local IQ. Everything I'm going to talk to you about today, you can speak to Local IQ and learn more. Local IQ have, as Joe mentioned, thank you, have recently won 2 partner awards, but the thing that I'm most proud of on our side is the Global Rising Star Award. You're in good hands. I can't say that they have everything and they know everything that we know, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is that they're able to offer you a service that's award worthy, and hopefully when we get to the end of this, they'll be able to kind of share their own offering and where we can kind of, you know, where we can take the partnership forward, hopefully, in the discussion. So in terms of scale, just back to the presentation, our numbers are fairly big, right? So if you've worked with Microsoft, you know, in the past, we still stand on these 3 principles, and we have data to support that are over 1 billion people that we can reach through our networks, have greater propensity to purchase, more likely to make a purchase online, and more likely to engage with new offers, or with ads through new offers. We've got a lot to back us up. We have one of the largest global operating systems in Windows. We have one of the largest global search engines in Microsoft Bing. We, as Microsoft, own a business social platform, LinkedIn. I'm sure you're all familiar. LinkedIn forms a very integral part of our data graph, which helps with our targeting options, and we're going to get there into that conversation. We have a large gaming platform in Xbox and Microsoft casual gaming. And most recently, this has been a conversation that has generated a lot of interest, particularly with the acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, which is the largest acquisition in Microsoft's history. And gaming for advertisers is definitely a live conversation right now. We have the benefits of a news publisher, a browser in Edge, our retail media platform, which I mentioned earlier, was the evolution of the Promote IQ proposition, and a demand and supply side platform, which is an evolution of the Xandr product. So put that all into one screen and understand the scale of everything that we're doing. Think of this chart here as our individual offerings, but think of where we're going to as is a full stack offering, not just this B logo here in the corner, which is the, Bing, right? So what does Bing do? Bing has a 10% market share. Incorrect. We'll get there. We'll show you the progress that we've made. But really, this picture here on the screen is to give you an indication of the areas that we play. We believe we're super competitive in all of those areas. We believe we can service small and mid-sized businesses and the enterprise across all of these. How we stitch it together, that's always going to be a work in progress. But if you need to access any of these areas, you have an interest in any of these areas that are not natively stitched together to the Local IQ proposition, talk to Local IQ about this and see where you can benefit from the other areas in our network. So I'm going to just build this slide out just to share that. Let me just make sure that that's complete. There we go. So yes, we are Bing, right? We have the full proposition of Bing, but we also have a large network of supply partners. We're the exclusive partner of ads to the DuckDuckGo environment. Obviously, Yahoo is a historic partner of ours. Ask. We have a chat ads API, which is expanding our supply and giving more eyeballs and more market share through the likes of Snap and Axel Springer. But the new search experience is critical to where we go, right? So yes, we have search, but we're now moving into a world where we have answers, we have chat, we have creation tools, all within the search and chat environment. We're reaching over 100 million daily active users today, and we've seen some tremendous numbers of users come through our chat experiences. Those numbers have changed. I'm not allowed to change this slide, but I've got an updated number slide which will kind of give you more of a flavor as to what volumes you've seen and what type of behavior that's kind of exhibiting. In terms of scale, where do we play? Again, if you worked with us 2 years ago, you would have seen 35, not languages, but 35 markets. We're now in 187 markets. We're now in, I want to say 43 languages. We've announced 8 languages due for release this month. So this is where you can advertise. Think of this as where you can advertise. With these markets, this is the largest. I know the new Bing is the greatest consumer leap that we've taken, but on the Microsoft advertising side, this was the biggest engineering investment that we have made, I would say, in our history. So to expand our network and sell local inventory or make local inventory available to advertisers in such a large number of markets, it kind of means if you want to play there, we can support you there. So that's a scale of the marketplaces that we operate in. And just to touch on some of the numbers, Microsoft today has a PC search share of 23%, blended, of course, with devices, with other devices. That number comes down to about 18%, but it's still a difficult to ignore number. You can see on the right-hand side here, this is an article from ComScore, which shows just the leaps that the leaps that Microsoft have made in just 1 month late last year, but that was in kind of the height of where we were kind of moving the chat experience into. So lots of movement in the right direction. I think there's something like 50 or 60 consecutive quarters of market share growth. So we are continually on a journey. If we could flip the switch and get double the volume, we might do, but we might have different areas to our proposition that we would have to amend. Would we still have that likelihood to purchase, propensity to purchase data? We would have to back that up with a large audience. Today we have that, and we have that with a very large audience. You can see some really kind of key markets in there as well. We advertise in Australia, Canada, UK, US, all of them English-speaking languages, all of them with really meaty market shares. Probably, the one that would stand out to you, as it does to a lot of people that I speak to, Germany is there. So Germany is a market that is very tied to privacy and values, and that's why we see a strong market share in that market. So to touch on the UK just a little bit more deeply, 29 million unique monthly searches. We have a unique set of searches not reached on other publishers. 23% PC market share, as I mentioned, a hefty number of monthly searches. Difficult to ignore. But let's move slightly on to just some more of those demographics that we see. So these numbers are global. We don't have them for individual markets, but we do know with a high degree of confidence that these global numbers are fairly reflected in most of our markets. So we do skew slightly towards men and women, but you have to skew slightly one way, right? So 57% being under the age of 45 is probably quashing an assumption, and that may be something to do with the rise of proliferation of our volume on different devices through different mediums. The next two, or the final two there, just kind of indicate the caliber of user on the whole. We have a high household income, means that if you have high value items, we see advertisers with in the retail sector and the travel sector and wherever you might play, a very high propensity to purchase, or a higher propensity to purchase in like-for-like tests against other publishers as well. So I'm going to move on to a bit more of the offering. So we're not just search, as we said. We've built a really wide and fantastic offering in the audience network. This is the ability to expand your search offering into other areas of our network and use first-party and in some cases open web or third-party supply to reach new audiences. So on the audience ad side, we call it MSAN or Microsoft Audience Ads. We have the offering expanded into native ads through search. You can create your own dedicated audience workflow campaigns and reach a large number of audience. And it's an audience that's only possible with Microsoft, and that's because of our unique set of assets. We use LinkedIn profile data within our data graph. We use demographics, web activity, all of which is Microsoft first-party data points, and there are billions of those. You can use that today to power your ads, and you can use that to target through a number of different options. I'll move on to those very, very shortly. Before I do, just my last slide here before I hand over to Brandon for just a quick breather and a question for the audience. Really what we see across advertisers is when they work correctly with audience ads, when you understand the amplification impact of this native and display video, whatever it might be through the audience ads, and when executed correctly, working with experts like Local IQ, you can really generate a higher likelihood to purchase based on just a search-only activity. So I'm going to take a breather and have a glass of water. I'm going to hand you over to Brandon here just for a quick stop, and then we're going to move on to what solutions we offer today and some of our targeting options.
Yep, thanks for that, Simon. Just a real quick one for the audience. I want you to think about, because that section we just went through talked about the evolution of Microsoft advertising, but most importantly, we talked about the audience that's on and using all the different platforms of Microsoft. More than 1 billion people are reached across 187 markets. And we can even connect with people who are playing games or watching Netflix. And so the thing that I want the audience to think about right now, and I encourage you to go to the chat so that way we can see what some of your answers are, is, what does your ideal customer look like? What are some things that you know already about your customers? What age are they? Simon talked to us about the highest population that currently use Microsoft advertising. The greatest share is across men and women under the age of 45 at 57%. How old are your customers? What's the makeup of their households? And I want you to put that into the chat so you can begin to think about your customer set, because a little bit later we want to talk about how we can overlay that onto Microsoft advertising and all those solutions that Simon just mentioned. But a lot of great information there, Simon. Thank you for taking us through that bit.
Yeah, no worries. Let's get the conversation going in the chat, and I'd love to learn more. So let's move on a little bit to ad solutions and targeting. So this is not exhaustive, but everything that you are familiar with across other publishers, all of the core products we have, and more. So it's a fine line to play with recognizing, where we are in the market that we're serving, just with our own unique audience and our own unique data set, and also innovating to bringing formats that only we could understand through our own consumer products. So all of those things that you see on the slide here, they're products that we offer today. Like I said, not exhaustive, doesn't include everything, but what I'd love to do is for you to go ahead and learn a bit more. So we have 9 headline products on our website. When you get the share of this slide deck, there's a link down here at the bottom. I would encourage you to go ahead and learn a bit more about the product, and then have a conversation with Local IQ about how they can help you with their own tools and their own playbook to kind of get you to where you need to and meet your business goals. In terms of targeting tools, you can combine Microsoft data with your own first-party data to achieve success and reach those ideal customers. Privacy is a human right, as our president says, and we really treat it very seriously. And some people say, okay, well, why is this available on this publisher but it's not available on Microsoft? The general crux is that privacy is key to what we do, what we release, and that's why you will see some of the options not available in certain markets. You'll see some options just not on the table at all. But we have a comprehensive set of assets that we can offer you through targeting. You can do that through the UI today. In-market audiences, LinkedIn profile targeting, which of course is unique to Microsoft, predictive targeting. By the way, just on that LinkedIn profile targeting piece, I would encourage you, especially if you're working in the B2B space, you are looking in the education space, where you might be able to think about the LinkedIn mindset. You're a consumer, of course, but you're in the B2B mindset. So with LinkedIn profile targeting, Joe and I work with a number of education establishments through partners, and they find we have a targeting option of company size. Company size 1 to 2 often gives that a high lead generation opportunity with education establishments. Is it somebody who's a sole trader? Do they have any spare time? Are they looking to learn more? What is the learning opportunity there? So the education establishment, it's a commercial university, they find a large degree of success there. But think of LinkedIn profile targeting as your secret weapon, especially in some of those verticals. Predictive targeting, device targeting, gender, age, similar audiences, all of this stuff is in our data graph today. And then of course we have layering on some of your own data, so remarketing, dynamic remarketing, things like that. Customer match is not available in the UK, but I've left it on the slide in case you are looking to advertise in some of the available markets, such as the US. So customer match is limited to compliant markets only. And from a success point of view, it is a no-brainer. Right? It's the only way for me to say this is having the right concoction, if you like, of audience targeting features is going to help you deliver a more efficient rate of targeting and a more efficient rate of conversion, whether that's a lead you're generating or a sale you're generating. I would encourage you to learn a bit more, use your partners at Local IQ to help you learn, what are the parts that are going to help you grow your business today and make your business more efficient. You can see some of the numbers on there. The one I'd like to just point you to, just from a I'd say experience, is that LinkedIn profile targeting 60% higher conversion rate. We actually saw a higher conversion rate than that in the education case study that we're talking about. We've got case studies on all of these. Have a read, see how others have achieved success in there as well. So again, I'm just going to take a break, not too long after my last sip of water. But Brandon, do you want to take over very, very quickly on this one?
Yep, I'll take this one. Just want to share this with the audience. I think that there are a few secrets to success, to having like a successful marketing campaign. And one of those things, though, is targeting. And it's really important that our webinar attendees understand that. So I wanted to give this quick pro tip when it comes to targeting, and I want our attendees to write this down so that later on, when I give you the information so you can have your business have a conversation with one of our experts, when you have that call with them, I want you to ask them about Acorn customer profile. Acorn customer profiling, write that down. Just to tell you briefly about it, it's a resource that some companies pay thousands of pounds to access. And what it is through an analysis of like actual customer postcodes. So those are the consumers that are buying or using services from your business. We're able to determine which target groups are key to your business and then provide ranking reports and heat maps at a postal sector level. So that helps you identify what areas with the highest density of those groups are, so that your business can make sure that you're targeting the right geographic areas. And we can do that. Information is really effective. It provides you maximum reach. It reduces the wastage of spend in terms of advertising in the wrong places and to the wrong audience. And a lot of our clients see that they have a better ROI too from that spend. So it's a very powerful tool. We can't go into it in depth here, but I want you to write that down. And then when you have that phone call later on today with your Local IQ expert, make sure you ask them about that. And I'm sure you'll blow their mind when you mention the Acorn customer profiling. And when they ask you how you know, you can just let them know that you learned about it on this webinar. So I just wanted to mention that as we were talking about targeting, Simon. But Simon, I think too, we're also in this era of generative AI. And so I don't think that there's one person on the call today who probably hasn't been a part of some conversation talking about AI. So can you tell us and take us into that next section, talking about just what the future of search looks like, especially with generative AI integrated into it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Brandon. So I've made a note for myself to go a bit more deeply into Acorn. So yeah, thanks, Brandon. Let's move on. I'm going to pick up my pace to about 1.25 or 1.5, just because I want to leave some time for the Q&A afterwards. But really, Brandon touched on this as a future search, but let's just go a little bit one step back. As I mentioned, OpenAI launched ChatGPT in November 2024. By the end of January, it was the fastest growing consumer technology product of all time. It generated to 100 million users. It was in record time. It's now used, it's now used across the entire technology space. There are consumer offerings everywhere. Like we were just moving into the era of everyone being a software company, we're now moving into the era of most companies feeling that they are an AI company or have some kind of AI behind them. But if I just go into one of the simple language changes, is that we launched our product first to market in February 23 as Bing Chat, and we're now using Copilot as the proposition across all Microsoft offerings. Where can you find it today? You can find it across mobile, Bing, Copilot itself, Windows. It's integrated into Edge. It's integrated into Microsoft productivity tools, and then you can see really on the screen here, by receiving answers to specific queries. This one about decorating a house and tips, creating an image using the OpenAI DALL-E 3 engine. You can interact with chat, you can change the images, you can just generally become more creative and generate bigger ideas. I would encourage you just to get yourself in that environment, have a work around it. As marketers, you're going to understand what's best for your customers. And how we service. We're here today to talk about ads, but what I wanted to just nod on is that chat is here to stay. It's also here to stay alongside search. There's always a purpose for search. If you know the brand that you want to get to, you know the specific part of the journey, you're locked out of your house, you need a locksmith, you want to check a stock ticker, you know that search is the right environment for you today. But if you're searching for a new laptop, if you want to put an agenda together for a vacation, a holiday with your family, and you have specific requirements around diet or specific requirements around what partners, what your family can do at specific ages, chat uses all of the available information to generate a unique response. So from this environment, there is a place for both, but there's certainly an opening for people to use chat in a different way. So the impact of Copilot so far, the thing that we're most proud of is that it's helping us reach a greater audience. So our volume is going up, but we're also helping people get to where they need to faster. So we're helping, I'm going to talk through some of these numbers, but we're helping them to generate a higher click-through rate and half, reduce the time to purchase. Spoiler there, it's a half, but let's move into some more of that. And then we're able to innovate. So we are seeing that people need to interface with chat in a very different way to search. So we're innovating in some of the ad formats there. Some of the quick highlights: 5 billion chats, 5 billion images, 6% increase in daily active users on mobile, 100 million daily active users on Bing, a third of those new to Bing. There's loads of really nice stories in there. The headlines, as I said, half the time to make a purchase decision. So while costs may change, the way that you're measuring is also changing. By taking a greater click-through rate, by seeing more Edge page views on mobile, we're generating that kind of supply and relevancy in mobile as well, which is really kind of groundbreaking for us, and it's really kind of taking us into an era of more responsibility to advertisers to service them and make sure that they get the right experiences. And the ad experiences are always a work in progress. So we, multimedia ads in line with a response here on the left-hand side. It's a search for a hotel in Sydney. In the middle here, this is our shopping campaign overlay into a query for flowers in Seattle. On the right-hand side here, a different hotel price ad format for a hotel in Miami. And what we're looking to do is innovate. So we're looking to bring the formats that have mattered to people generating chats and the answers that they want to see in a more consumer-facing, friendly way by listening to what they're looking for and finding more innovative ad formats. And the first of this is compare and decide ads. So I don't know whether you've used this. I certainly have. We had to change our family car quite recently. So I was looking for specific requirements for a car. This here is a demo environment, but this format here works perfectly. I was looking for I have 3 kids, my sons, so I was looking for space for 3 children in the back. So I wanted to know, can you compare the 5 most popular SUVs in the UK that have a space of, and I took the width from my current car, a space of this with a 10% variance up or down. And you know what? All of that information is freely available on the web. Generative AI and chat helps me to learn more. And the format here that you can see, compare and decide ads, this particular user is looking for an SUV with a strong safety record that's also fuel efficient. And again, an ad format generated through our autos marketplace listings, which is free today, and our auto inventory ads, which works on a CPC basis, just like search does. And you can see here they get the chat answer, but then they also get the compare and decide environment here below. Now, where I'd like to leave you here and kind of move into Q&A and just kind of hear some more from you guys is you don't need to take action today. So for Copilot, ads for Copilot, your chat ads, they will appear alongside your MSA current campaigns. And just take into account that the timing piece. So users take half the time of a traditional search to reach a decision. And I'd love you to try this out yourself. I'd love to hear from advertisers, large or small, working alongside Local IQ, to see whether that's the same for you. Because for me, it's kind of changed how I've searched and how I tend to search and my entry points into Copilot. And we think it's here to stay. I love it. And I could talk about it all day. Unfortunately, I don't get a chance to. So hopefully that was useful and valuable. And yeah, I'm going to hand you back over to Brandon. Brandon, I'm going to stop sharing my screen as we move into the Q&A. But thanks everyone for your time. Really appreciate it. And yeah, look forward to working with you and through promote. Can't talk about it. Through Local IQ, of course, going forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Simon, for that. I'll go ahead and prep for our Q&A, and thank you to everybody who has submitted your questions. That was a lot of great information as to how things are developing and what businesses can do to begin to prepare and just prepare themselves for what's to come. One of the top questions that we've got in the chat is, will the slides be available for them? And so, yes, we are going to send you all the slides within 24 hours, along with the presentation of the recording of it as well. And then we also really like to try to make these webinars very action-oriented. And so as you all are sending your final questions, I just want to put this on the screen as a call to action and encourage you to do this. I'll also put this link in the chat. Here we go, because we covered a lot today, but there's a lot that we can't go into, and there's a lot that we can't personalize because we've just got a broad audience here. But what I want to encourage you to do is I put the link in the chat, go to the link and book a call with one of our experts. There's no obligation. The consultation is free, and it doesn't hurt to chat with them to talk about what your business is currently doing, and just making sure that you're utilizing all the platforms, including Microsoft Ads and Microsoft Bing, to its fullest potential. You really don't want to leave any business or potential customers on the table just because you haven't turned something on. So it pays to talk with an expert. Also, don't forget to ask them what you wrote down earlier about the Acorn customer profiling capabilities. Again, I'm sure you'll blow their mind once you ask them about that. All right, so we've got a couple of questions. I know we're at time, but we'll just extend it for 2 to 3 minutes so we can get at least 1 or 2 questions in. So one person asked Simon or Joe, how can I best help advance, how can AI help me advance as a digital marketer and help me also advance my digital marketing campaigns?
Yeah, so I can take that one. Brandon, thanks. So look, from our perspective, I think we see AI as a great leveler. Simon mentioned our CEO Satya Nadella talking about trying to democratize the web and make it available to anyone. So that fits neatly in with like our broader Microsoft mission I think, if we think sort of big agency versus smaller agency, I think a bigger agency resources might, likely to have more staff, more clients, more opportunities to test and revenue to play around with. But from a smaller agency perspective, or regardless of the size of your agency, I think there's an opportunity with AI, while we're still in the early stages of it, to be nimble, to look for your niche, to look for your opportunity, to leverage it in ways other people haven't. Like in very practical ways, people may see or may notice that this month we've rolled out, and it'll be finished by the end of the month, a new UI, new user interface for Microsoft advertising. If you don't see that, that'll be rolled out by the end of April. But Copilot is built right into that UI, and we encourage people, and I've been playing around with it quite a bit, to ask things like, why aren't my DSAs working as well as they like? Or how can I improve my CPA? Or what suggestions do you have to make my creative more engaging? Or why is this creative working better than that creative? And I think from a very practical perspective in terms of managing your digital marketing campaigns, I think the opportunities are endless. And I've shared the kind of top 10 or 15 use cases I've seen. But like I say, we're still in the very early stages of that, and I think it'll be fascinating to see what the next year or two looks like. And I think the other thing in terms of using AI to manage your activity, people lean towards is, at least initially lean towards, is how can we offload or use AI to help us with the sort of repetitive tasks. But what I've seen really interesting lately is using AI to tackle those complex tasks or the creative tasks, in terms of what are emerging trends in this vertical, or can you help me create a visual theme for my client in this industry who wants to make their customers feel this emotion when they buy their product or use their product or think of their product. So that there are all sorts of ways to sort of explore how we can leverage AI starting today.
Thank you, Joe, for that. One other question that came through: how do we keep up with AI and other companies which are bigger than me? So I'm assuming this may be a smaller, medium-sized company that's trying to, again, stay competitive with the larger enterprises. How can AI help them with that, or the Microsoft advertising solutions?
Yeah, so Simon, happy if you want to jump in, but the one or two things I would say on this is, and I touched on it in the last one, is the sort of democratization, I don't know if that's a word, of AI. So whether you work for a company with a market cap as big as Microsoft's, or you're a one-woman sole trader starting off in a developing country, you have the same access to Windows Copilot as anybody else. And actually, a bit like that sort of finding your niche, finding the new opportunities piece that I mentioned in the previous question, I think there are a ton of opportunities for people to find their specialty, or to find a way to use that AI that hasn't quite taken hold as yet. And actually, also the previous piece I mentioned around whether it's you need the scale of a bigger company or someone with more resources. So you're trying to use AI to get through that repetitive or admin heavy or transactional heavy work, or you're a PPC or an SEO focused person or smaller agency, minus the creative or the financial or the expertise in a certain vertical or a certain market. There's nothing stopping any of us right now jumping onto Copilot and asking, tell me about the trends in the last 5 years in Romania in the windows and doors market and what that has looked like, and insert whatever geo, vertical, other query type you like in place of Romania and that particular vertical I picked. That's available to all of us at random. I think is I'm still sort of trying to get my head around that.
I might just layer on some thoughts. I know Brendan, we're nearly there, but this is a leveler. And when search marketing came around 15 years ago, 20 years ago, there was, sorry, I should say even 25 years ago, when it came around, it allowed smaller advertisers to compete with bigger advertisers. Not in terms of budget or money or all that kind of stuff, but creativity and to Joe's point around reaching niches. From from an AI point of view, from an innovation point of view, there's the world is your oyster. Right? This is a new environment. Formats are new. The way that chat, diffuses and generates answers is new. Becoming familiar is probably my #1 recommendation. Use this stuff yourself every day to generate new content, to generate answers, to interface in a different way that you would do to use search. Understand how it works, and that will be your biggest advantage. Because I speak to advertisers and partners every day who are intimidated by it. Joe and I, to some degree, this stuff's moving so fast that even though we've been working for Microsoft for as long as we have, it was also quite intimidating. My recommendation, my guidance for everyone is to use it as a consumer and let that creativity of where you dive into your niche or what's important to your business, you use that as your first prompt together. I know what time, so I'll hand it back over to you, Brandon. Just
Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Simon and Joe. And then just one last question real quickly. I'll answer this one. It came from another Joseph, and he asks, in order to optimize location-based ads by using the LinkedIn profile targeting, is that one ad running at once, or is it a LinkedIn ad and a geo-fencing ad together? And I want to say that is a very good question to take to your local IQ expert specifically. But in general, what I'll say to everyone is that it's things just like that. When you're working with a agency like Local IQ, we've got technology to where you don't have to make the decision as to one ad format over another, because we've got the technology where we can run multiple types of ad formats across multiple types of platforms across one budget. And then our technology will help determine which ad formats and which platforms are generating the best return for your campaign in real time. And it can even respond reactively and proactively in real time. And so you don't have to, your campaigns and your business doesn't have to wait till the next business day. So if there's something happening at 3 a.m. At nighttime and your ideal customer is conducting a search that's going to get them a little bit further down your journey, our technology will help make sure that your ad shows up at that right time to that right customer. So a lot of great things came out of today's call. Thank you all for sticking around. Joe, Simon, thank you so much for sharing the knowledge that, and conversation that we have just about every day on behalf of our clients with you all and with Microsoft, but we're able to bring this forward to all of our attendees today. And so hopefully all of our attendees walked away with a better understanding of just the vastness of the Microsoft ecosystem, and understand that of all the billions of individuals who your platforms reach, I'm pretty certain their customers are connected to your platforms at some form and fashion. And so we just want to encourage our attendees to connect with our experts at Local IQ to talk about how we can make sure that their business stays in front of those ideal customers. So until our next webinar, again, Joe, Simon, thank you very much for your time. And to our attendees, thank you very much for joining our masterclass today. And we'll see you on our next one.